that six-foot ball-head nigga from New York with the gangster walk, the gangster talk, thrilling to find him a killing. I'm wildin', I'm illin', I don't give a fuck about you, and that's my feeling. I'm in a brand new house, nigga, chillin' with shoeboxes of $100 bills. Nigga.
I listen to a lot of music and relate skate to it, and the Freddie Fox song was like, dude on the East Coast, not giving a shit about anybody else. You know, he had his new shoe box full of money, which to me represented the new shoe. And I was just like, you know what, that's perfect. That's exactly how I feel right now. So here, use this song. And the good part is they couldn't deny it because it was last minute.
Open the door and let Derek in. I break my silence after 10 years of suppressing my violence. You was my man, I gave you Benjamins. Every time I rolled up to get you in the bins again. We can never be friends again. You brought me tears when you took.
I had some guest appearances in the part. Stevie, of course. Anthony Correa, because, you know, I used to skate with him in Houston, and I had KT in it because, you know, we skated with KT every day. And Ricky, truthfully, with the beef and all that stuff that me and Ricky have had in the past, he's one of my favorite street skaters of all time. The bump over can, you know, the Philly guys call it the hardest spot ever. And DC called and we're like, hey, we heard you tray flip the thing. We're sending Blayback out to shoot it. And I was like, yeah, the first time I did it, it wasn't really that hard, you know? And then the second time was like, dude, it was a battle. And what's funny is the two guys that are sitting on the ledge that are in the back of the photo, after every try, I would be like, it ain't shit, right? And they would both be like, it ain't shit. If I remember, it was run and jump, 3 pushes was the exact speed I needed.
It ain't shit.
In my opinion, for me, that tray flip was the best thing I ever did over the can. I think in general, just the best trick I've ever done in my entire life. The cans for me is like, who knows what it's like for somebody else, like what it would equate to, you know what I mean? I remember talking to Deerdick on the phone one time and he's like, so what's your video part looking like? I'm like, dude, I'm done. And he was like, what do you mean you're done? Like what, your enders or your fucking tricks over the can? And I'm like, bro, you've never fucking skated them, dude. Like, you have no idea how hard it is. Like, I would just say, still to this day, like, how many fucking tricks are done over the can? And the amount of work that I went through for that shit.
We've got it. Fresh out the gate again, time to raise the stakes again. Fat my plate again. Y'all cats know we always play to win, GNG.
The DC video, to tell you the honest truth, man, like, I don't like it. I just remember sending all my footage in, and let's just call it maybe 6 minutes of footage. And then my test edit came, and it was Gangstar full clip, and it was like 3 minutes long or something like that. And I remember being like, hey guys, I wanted to use all my footage because a lot of this footage was filmed to complement this footage, the under the bridge lines and stuff like that. I filmed 2 lines specifically, and I want to use Fugazi. Started with Fugazi and ended with a hip hop song. I gave them that input and I didn't see it again until the premiere. And the premiere was big Chinese theater, limos. I mean, it was like a badass premiere. And I remember being in the audience and like, oh shit, my part's up. It was my test edit. And I was like, damn. Like I was pretty bummed because the DC video was a big deal. Shoe was selling off the chain. I mean, everything was flying. But I kept it to myself. Like a couple months go by, I go back home. I think I mentioned it to somebody and it got back to Greg who put it together and he called me like, what, you're not happy with your part? And I had to tell him like, no. Like you said, here's what I'm thinking and you sent me the here's what I'm thinking video part and I gave you my feedback and then I go to the premiere and it was like, it hadn't changed. And there was other video parts within that video that were put together so well. I didn't think my part got that love that these other video parts did, you know what I mean? Might be selfish, but like, you know, skateboarding is an art form. The way you envision yourself doing the trick is the way you would want it to be represented to the world. And when it's not represented to the world, well then it's time to move on to the next project. In 2006, I'm splitting my time. I have my house and family in Michigan, and I have my apartment in Chicago, and it was like, weekdays Michigan, weekend Chicago. What people don't know about Chicago is back in the day there was an unwritten rule and it was like Minimal filming, minimal photos. Nobody was trying to blow the city up. Nobody wanted to turn Chicago into San Francisco. Dude, there was like 3 love parks in Chicago. And it was the same deal. I mean, there was like Terminator cops. They used to beat people up. I mean, these cops were gnarly, but it didn't matter. Everybody still came down. We would have like 50 or more people at the Art Institute, but we rarely filmed and we rarely shot photos. So when I moved back, I straight up asked them, I'm like, look, I'm back. Can I film and shoot photos without people getting upset? And they literally sat me down and were like, there's a lot of really rad skaters in Chicago now, and we would love for them to get shine. You know, the old rule doesn't really stand as much anymore. So that gave me like a sigh of relief, because now I can go do my thing. And Chicago's hard as shit to film because you don't have much time at every spot, but it's the raddest and easiest city to shoot photos. I went on a DC trip to Barcelona. My jaw was on the ground about all these skate spots that we went to, and I just fell in love with it. But we traveled from spot to spot to spot, so we didn't hang out at Mockball or hang out at Sans or any of that stuff. When I went home, I didn't feel like I had the experience that I wanted to experience, you know? So I just decided that every winter, I would spend 2 or 3 months out there. And dude, you wake up, you get breakfast, you go to the skate spot, and you can stay at that skate spot all day, or you can hop on the train and go to like another plaza and hang out there all day. Or you can get off at any random train stop you wanted to get off at in a skate spot. KALIS and Mono was actually pretty random. I don't remember after how many Barcelona trips, but we were specifically filming for Minefield. And the footage was due October of whatever year it was. So October came and I was like, all right, you ready? Because I didn't really talk to Alien that much like that at this time. And so I was kind of out of touch with Alien, really, because I was doing my own thing. It was Chicago and Spain so much. And so October came and went. And so I said, hey, you know, what's up? You guys need the footage? And they were like, oh, we're pushing the video. Damn. I just worked my ass off for a year and I gotta hold my footage, you know? I've never been the dude to like stack my footage and wait. I always wanna give it a project, because if I'm just sitting on footage, what am I gonna do? And then they said, all right, we're gonna do this project. It's gonna be like a solo video part as a precursor for Minefield. And I was like, oh, sick. I said, well, just don't use a couple tricks, you know, like the switchbacks I flip, I saved. There was like a couple tricks I saved, but the majority of Minefield was new footage. And then KALIS and Mono was the stuff I previously filmed. And I spent some time in San Francisco to film for Minefield, because I knew that KALIS and Mono had so much footage from Spain. And I didn't want my skate footage to look like that's all I'm filming. Because don't get me wrong, it's 100% easier to film in Barcelona. You don't get kicked out of spots. All the spots are beyond perfect. So I truthfully didn't want my Minefield part to be Barcelona heavy. I think if I would have been able to use the footage that was in KALIS and Mono and use the footage that was in Minefield and mix them into one video part, that was like my prime era right there. But that video part never happened. But one of the positive things that I took away from Minefield was the big spin back tail on the pyramid ledge. That was definitely a dream trick. I mean, sure, getting footage out and being part of a project like that, you know, is cool, but it just didn't give me that feeling, you know what I mean? Because me and Alien were so far disconnected, and me and the team were so far disconnected. There had been so many changes. I was a part of none of them. So I watched Minefield. I was like, damn, that's cool. It literally went right out. The way my relationship with Alien is at this time it was getting strange, you know? So my loyalty was like 100% DC at this point, and Deerdick. But Deerdick was with DC too. So I started thinking about where would I go for a board company, and I was looking at DGK as like, dude, if they had another, you know, ambassador, I don't know, it just made sense to me, and it made sense to him. And so that deal literally went together like, dude, it was less than a week. It was like boom, boom, boom. And I'd never been in a contract at Alien, ever. So there was no obligations for anything. So I was able to just be like, guys, I'm out. And it just started, it literally like reinvented me. You know what I mean? It took me back to, you know, Love Park 95, you know what I mean? Where it was like all the shit that me and Stevie like talked about or joked around about, like now we get to do it, you know?